Welcome back. Road safety. We keep talking about road safety over and over and over again. What about pedestrian safety? Safety for those who are walking by the side of the road, crossing the road, perhaps selling or living by the side of the road or close to. It looks like most of the people that die as a result of road accidents in Ghana are actually pedestrians. They're not in the vehicles that have the accidents. Before I go on to tackle this very sensitive subject, I'd like to say some shout outs. And this one is from Kwame Abu, and he says best wishes to all final year students of Prempeh College and also to all level 300 economic students of UDS WA campus. Bless Ajika, or is it Ajika? You want to wish all the final year students of ADMAS a resounding success. And Cassius Otovonlabi, you want to wish Nia Matefio, a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast School of Business, a happy birthday. Well, good morning to you as well. My guest on the topic of pedestrian road safety is a special coordinator for projects at the National Road Safety Commission. His name is Henry Asomini. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise, Henry. How are you feeling this morning?
Fine. Good morning.
Special projects, National Road Safety. Is pedestrian safety a special project?
There are some of the special projects that involve making the pedestrian safe on the road.
What exactly do you do to ensure pedestrian safety on our roads?
As a national agenda, one of the things we did is we brought up the national strategy, the National Road Safety Strategy 3. In it, you find that we have the pedestrian as one of the road users, target road users that we want to save on the road. Not just them, but they are one of the target road users. And we also developed our action plans out of that. And it also captures the pedestrian as one of the people we want to save. When I mention these documents, I don't mean that just the national road safety. These documents were done by the stakeholders in the road safety industry. So each stakeholder has a responsibility towards saving a pedestrian on the road.
At what point in the development of our country did the safety of pedestrians become important? At what point did we begin to recognize at the strategy level that pedestrians are stakeholders?
At the inception of road safety, pedestrians were identified as road users, and their safety came on board. It was in our national the Road Safety Strategy 2, where the pedestrian was identified again, but we still think we can reduce the number more. That is how come it is still highlighted in the Strategy 3.
A casual look at road safety in Ghana would bring two things to the fore. One is infrastructure, and before that, education.
As a commission, we embark on a lot of education. And for the pedestrian, one of the things we are doing a nationwide campaign on the pedestrian safety. And there is this saying that catch them young and they shall be yours forever. So we have decided that we want to put the road safety education into the curriculum.
I'm looking through this book. It's really nice, the Road Safety Education for Junior High Schools. Two things jump to my mind. Junior high school, I'd say, is a little too late to start teaching young people about road safety. Secondly, I'm looking at the illustrations, and they are so beautiful. All the roads that you draw and photograph here all have road markings and traffic lights and walkways. Most of them don't really look like most of the roads we see around us. Why?
Okay, let me take your first question first. What we don't have just for junior high, we have one for the primary school. That's road safety education for primary school. And then we have the road safety education for the junior high. We also have the teacher's guide for primary and junior high. And the roads you see in there is something that as a country we aspire to. We want to get to the stage where all our roads are pedestrian safety. And we think we are in the process of doing that, and that is how come most of the teachings in the book are centered on that. But it's not only centered on that. When you go through, you see that we have sections where we don't have road markings, we don't have pedestrian crossing points, and there too we teach the child what to do when you are encountered in such a situation.
Yes, I'm looking at exactly that section, a road with no markings and lots of activities going on. There are animals crossing it here. There's an accident. There are some hawkers walking down the middle of the road in between moving lanes. How do you teach a child to deal with such an obviously dangerous environment?
Okay,
through a book.
Okay, we are not just doing it through the book. The book is a source of a place that they could find it. But if you look at this other one, the teacher's guide for junior high, you see that one is for the teachers. it shows the teachers how to teach road safety education. And some of the dangerous points, let's say children playing by the side of the road. When you look in the book, you are told that you should play at a session where it is a cutoff between you and the road, where there's a wall or something. If you have to play by the side of the road, let's say you are playing football, the football goes into the road. When you are crossing that road, cross it as if you are crossing a normal road. And if there are no markings or there are no pedestrian crossings, that is where we have something called the curb drill. The curb drill comes in. You have to do the curb drill before you cross the road to go and take your football.
As we are speaking, we have some images on the screen, and you can see here a major 3-lane highway. Actually, it's a 6-lane highway with people crossing it haphazardly, cars zooming by. Look at that. Now that's a really good one.
You see, one of the problems that we have in the country is about indiscipline, and what you are showing on the telly shows the indiscipline of the Ghanaian. We have areas earmarked for you to cross the road, and sometimes you find somebody crossing at a section of the road that is very unsafe, and just about 20 meters ahead there's a safe crossing point. There's even this photo gallery on my journal line where there's a person crossing under the footbridge. So you see, it is about our discipline. Me crossing the road, how do I ensure my own safety? Let me just walk 20 meters to the traffic light where it will be safe for me to cross. But looking at it, walking 20 meters, cross the road, and walking 20 meters back, because where I'm going is just opposite where I'm standing.
20 meters is good. Would you say that describes the frequency of safe crossings for major roads and highways in Ghana, that every 20 meters there is a safe pedestrian crossing?
No, not 20 meters, but it is close. It depends on the road. The distance between two crossing points depends on the type of road. So I can't really give the length. But it is such that when you are standing at a place, you can walk to a safe crossing point and then cross the road. And let's use the where you took the picture from the N1. You see that the N1, there are sections you have the traffic lights. There are sections you have the footbridges. These are safe crossing points. And when you take it, you see that maybe the distance between it is about 50 meters at interval. But some people don't want to walk that far before they can cross the road, because maybe they are going just across the road from where they are standing. So they intend to just cross so that it will be shorter for them.
It looked more like a kilometer to me between footbridges the last time I looked at it. I didn't measure the distance, I just eyeballed it, but it looked like in many places, if I wanted to cross, I'd have to walk nearly a kilometer to the footbridge and then a kilometer back.
That's why I said we don't only have footbridges on the N1, we also have traffic lights. And at the traffic lights too, there are places that a pedestrian can cross.
What is the main cause of injury and death to pedestrians on our roads? Would you think that it's indiscipline on the part of the pedestrians, indiscipline on the part of the drivers, or indiscipline on the part of the planners and builders of our road infrastructure?
I would say all three come into play for the pedestrian fatalities, because one, some of the roads you find out that you don't get pedestrian walkways, you don't have crossing points. But that is where we advise that you take the responsibility upon yourself, because it is your life. So let's say if I'm working in the place I know that it is not safe, what do? I have to take precautions. And what precautions do I take? You look at the environment and then you see what to do. There are other places that the walkways are there, meaning the planners have developed it, but we have hawkers on the walkway. So where do the pedestrian pass? And the pedestrians end up walking in the road. And that is why the assemblies are taking this upon themselves to move the hawkers off this walkway so that the pedestrians can safely walk on it.
Viewers are posting various comments. Chastity is asking about infrastructure and facilities for people with different abilities, especially those that are visually, hearing, or motor challenged. Felix says, we've been discussing about road safety since the start of the show. We're in our 5th year, but there still seems to be little or no improvement. He's wondering who is actually watching and listening. Is it those who are at risk, or those who are the leaders? And ISP Patrick said that the images that we show clearly indicate that we are in discipline. Shortcuts are always dangerous. How do we get those books? Would you like to comment on one or any of these posts?
Which books is he talking about?
I suppose these ones.
Okay, these books were printed by us, and we are distributing through the GES. It's in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service. As of now, we are training the SHEP coordinators of the GES on how to use these books, and we have divided Ghana into 3 sections where we are doing it. We've done the central one, that is in Kumasi. We'll be doing the southern part one this quarter, and then next quarter we'll be going to the northern. We are targeting the SHEP coordinators because they do the safety and health education in schools, and but that's not where it ends. We want to get to this where we put it in the curriculum of the GES, and we are talking with the GES about that, and they seem to be appreciating it, and we are looking at getting it in.
There seems to be a huge gap between what we have in our classrooms and what we have in our lives, what we have in our law books and what we have on our streets, and what we have in our schools and what we have in everyday practice. Do you really think that a book, as good as it is an effective method of teaching road safety? Wouldn't it be much better to demonstrate this in real life or on television? What I'm saying is, don't you think that a series of video clips would work much better, that actually demonstrate and illustrate reality, or even better than that, actual on-location lessons? You take the children to the situation and show them what to do.
There are various forms of education, and we use various forms of education. This is just one of them. There are times if you look at if you look at the teacher's guide, you realize that how the teachers are supposed to be teaching the kids. If you go through, there are portions that the teachers would have to take the kids to an on-site location.
Would have to, yeah. But do they? Do you make sure that they do? Do you monitor and regulate this?
Now we don't have it in the curricula yet. It is now that we have developed the document and we are trying to put it in the curricula. Now we are training the SHEP coordinators, and then when we get to the teachers, you realize that by the time we get to the teachers, we would have been able to put this in the curricula, where now it shows how they can teach the children, and we know that they would go by it because they would have been taught how to do it. And it is being done with GES, some consultants from GES.
Interesting. How much do you think this would help in improving road safety in Ghana for pedestrians?
The books.
Do you have targets? Do you have clear targets for improving road safety through these interventions, through these programs?
As of now, pedestrians contribute about 43% of the fatalities we have in Ghana, and 23% of that are children below the age of 16. And what we are looking at, we want to reduce that number.
Reduce by how much?
I can't give the targets here now, but we have targets where we want to reach. As per
you do have targets?
Yeah, that's why I said it's 43% now. We have a target we want to reach, and it is 23% of pedestrian fatalities below the age of 16, and that is one thing we want to reduce. We go further down to under 6 years, which contribute about 6% of these 23%.
How well are we doing by comparison to other West African countries or other countries around the world?
By comparison, you mean road safety? Okay. When it comes to road safety, Ghana is not doing bad at all, but I'm not saying it is the best. We realize that in the past years, even some countries have come to study road safety management, how road safety is managed in Ghana, so that they can use it in their respective countries. I'm sure we all know about the UN decade of road safety, the 10-year road safety strategy that was brought up by the UN. When you look at that strategy that the UN brought, you realize that Ghana has gone far ahead, because there are some portions in that document that we have already done. So it's like it's something we are doing, and that document has come, so we are just continuing. If you look at our strategy 3, which came just around the time that document came, you see that it is in line with the UN Decade of Action document.
When we look at the road traffic scene in Ghana generally, it almost appears as if some users are above the law, whilst others are completely ignorant of it.
Okay. I don't know about the ignorance, because one thing we did a research on the N1, and I was there myself, where these pedestrians were crossing at a traffic light. But you know, at the traffic light we have the pedestrian crossing signal that should come green before you cross. So, but it was red. and it was green for the vehicles who were turning, and the pedestrians crossed. So I just called one and asked him, why did you cross? Because you can see that it is red for you. And he didn't answer. He was just all he said was sorry. And I was like, you see, you have to take that into your own hands. Why am I saying? I'm saying this because you don't, as they say that when the thing affects me, I have to handle it perfectly. When it affects me, I shouldn't trust that, Eric, you would handle it perfectly for me. I have to handle it perfectly myself. So if the planners, I'm not saying the planners are not doing well, the planners are doing well, but if there's a situation where it wasn't planned well, you shouldn't say because it wasn't planned well, I would disobey it.
Correct me if I'm wrong about this, Henry. I think invariably, in fact, almost without exception, anytime there is a road accident which involves a pedestrian being hit by a vehicle, the police report has a phrase in it that says reckless driving.
Yeah.
Almost invariably, I mean, almost without fail, okay. In the report on any accident in which involves a pedestrian being hit by a vehicle, there is that phrase of, quote, reckless driving, unquote. Okay. When you were on the N1, did your research include speeding?
Yes.
And were there any vehicles at all that were driving within the speed limit?
Okay.
Even one?
Oh, yes, you can guess.
Yes, you found one car.
But the percentage is very low.
Well, in percentage terms, how many vehicles were driving within the speed limit? And I think it's 50 kilometers an hour.
Yes,
for areas that have got human activity on either side of the road. So how many of the vehicles on the N1 were driving at 50 kilometers an hour or slower at the time that you were there? If you can just give me like 1 out of 10, half.
The evaluation is not complete yet, so I can't really give a figure on that. But what I can say is that, you see, you mentioned about this reckless driving thing.
Yes.
When an accident happens, the police investigates to find out what happened. So if you see reckless driving, then it meant that the driver was not conforming to the rules and regulations at that time.
Number one, speeding.
Yeah. When you are approaching, let's say, a traffic light or a pedestrian crossing point, what you have
to slow down from 50 kilometers to 30 to 20. Okay, I'll come back to that. Let's just take a caller. We've opened the phone lines. Stephen is joining us from Takrady. Good morning, Stephen.
Yes, I'm Stephen Takrady. I think that we should really. But when
sorry, Stephen, please speak up.
When people drive reckless on the road,
Stephen, your line is breaking. Please speak up.
Hello?
Ah, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes. What I'm saying is that we should really find the accident. But when accident started reckless, and we call it accident. That's not accident. But when somebody unintentionally hit somebody and the person died, and it's got
that's a very good point.
Then a driver takes reckless and call that one accident. That doesn't make sense. And I think that the word accident is defined by the big men to protect themselves from liability.
Very good point. I like the way you put it, Stephen. Thank you. I like the way you put it. You heard what Stephen said, that we use the word accident inappropriately. If someone is driving down a stretch of road where every educated person knows the speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour at the speed of 100, that's not an accident. That's intention.
Okay.
You don't drive at twice the speed limit accidentally. You can drive at, maybe 10 kilometers faster than the speed limit, maybe 15, but not twice the speed limit. That's no longer an accident. If you hit someone and kill them or injure them, that's driving with intent to hurt or kill someone.
Okay. If you look at our recent document, that the National Road Safety Commission, you realize that we stopped using the word accident because of this reason that you are just given. We now call it road traffic crashes because we realize an accident is something that happened and you couldn't control it. But most of these accidents that are happening are things we could have controlled. So we have changed the term, we called it road traffic crashes, no more road traffic accidents.
Don't you think that we should be a little bit more proactive so that we could deliver results and be a little bit more preemptive? Because people keep dying, accidents are now called crashes, but then what has changed?
Yeah, that's what as a commission, we try to be very proactive, and that is how come I just told you about the UN Decade of Action document which came in, and we already the things that were set out that it should be done as a country, we had already done some of the things and we even had plans of continuing, which was also captured in the UN Decade of Action.
But what is your biggest constraint? What is the biggest difficulty or challenge that you face in doing your job?
As a commission, one of the things is the indiscipline on the part of the attitude of the Ghanaian.
You're saying that you have all the human resource you need, all the funding you need, all the equipment you need.
No,
the only problem you have is indiscipline on our part.
I didn't say that is the only problem. I said one of the biggest challenges we are having.
The biggest is the indiscipline on the part of the road users, both pedestrians and motorists.
Drivers, yeah.
And motorists. Whose indiscipline is greater? Is it the pedestrians or the motorists?
I can't really say, but it is just they're not indiscipline. If you even look in the law, section 29 talks about pedestrians. I wanted to explain that using the reckless driving thing you said. It's not always that a driver is at fault when a driver hits a pedestrian. When you look in the law, we have something called the jaywalking, and a pedestrian can be charged with jaywalking.
Edward is joining us from Kumasi. Lavisman Papa says we need more zebra crossings. Let's take Edward from Kumasi. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, and yourself?
Good. It appears most of the accidents that happens on our road are usually attributed to the drivers and the road nature. But there I see an aspect of human responsibility, because sometimes we, the pedestrian, must know how to cross road. And as a result, we have a number of ramps on our roads, which sometimes also doesn't augur well for driving. So I think we need to educate the public on how to cross the road. Most of the areas you go, you see a number of ramps, which at the end of it all tends to affect vehicle. So if we are looking at road traffic and accidents, I think we also need to look at educating the public on how to cross road so that we don't end up mounting a number of ramps on the road. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. And Lavisman Dipapa, who wrote and said that he thinks we need more zebra crossings, also thinks that we should regulate much more. We should punish much harsher. We should deal with everyone who breaks the law when it comes to road safety. Writing us from Wa, the capital of Upper West. Would you agree with him?
Yes.
That we need harsher fines, we need stiffer punishments, and we need much better regulation for overspeeding, for wrong stopping, for switching lanes, for everything that is clearly dangerous driving.
Yeah, when you look in the law that came up last year, that's the LI 2180.
Oh, the law was wonderful. We are talking about implementing it.
Yeah, I'll come to the implementation. When you look at the law, you realize that there are a lot of things inside there. And was it last week, the police had a workshop on spot fines, which is captured in the law. That is one of the things we intend to, because you realize that the police arrest somebody on the road for overspeeding and has to process the person to court, which takes time. And because of that, some things can happen between the time the person is arrested and court time. But now we have spot fines, where when the police arrest you on the spot, you pay a fine, which everybody would know about.
And if you don't have the necessary amount of money to pay the fine, what happens to you?
If you don't have the necessary the money to pay for the fine, then now the police takes you on and you'll be processed for court.
We've got our final caller for this morning, Edward, joining us from Accra. Good morning, Edward. Good morning, Edward. Or is it Elvis?
Yes.
Pardon me, Elvis. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. Yeah. I just want to say that a road safety is a shared responsibility. The National Road Safety, in conjunction with the other stakeholders, came out with the Road Safety Strategy 3, which compels every stakeholder, be it engineering, the enforcement, the service providers, to carry out specific tasks in their own stated activities to ensure that the safety of the road. Now, if you look at the new La Paz road, the area was a built-up area with a lot of activities, around the place. when they were constructing the road, they knew very well they were disrupting the work culture, the economic and the social culture of the area. So, according to the United Nations program, the engineer must make sure that they do not satisfy only the sick, but other workers also, like the pedestrians. The studies carried out at the La Paz area show that 1,400 pedestrians cross that road daily. That's one crossing point. So what did we do as engineers to ensure that these people who have families and the residential areas distracted because of the road have safe and easy crossing without too much? I think we are basing our business too much on the enforcement. We are disregarding the rights of the pedestrians and other road users. This does not happen elsewhere. Even in India, for instance, we have tunnels where you can cross the road without even knowing that you are crossing the road. So I think all stakeholders who have signed the performance agreement on the safety aspect of this on the strategy 3 must sit up and stop worrying the police alone, because sometimes it is just invariably impossible for anybody to cross the road about 50 or 100 kilometers away from wherever is working. Let's be considerate.
Okay. It's some very good points you raised. Please don't hang up. The producer would like to speak to you. And coming to you, Henry, who signed on behalf of the pedestrians? When it came to signing, for all the stakeholders signing, who signed on behalf of those of us who crossed the road? Well, I think everyone crossed the road. Who signed on behalf of the pedestrians?
Are you talking about the action plan?
Yes. You said all stakeholders signed an agreement. So I want to know who signed on behalf of the pedestrians.
On the action plans, we don't have pedestrians.
You don't have pedestrians?
No, I'm coming. Hold on. I didn't say as a stakeholder. I said
pedestrians are not on the action plan as stakeholders.
On our action plans, it is about agencies who are supposed to ensure safety on the roads.
Which agency is supposed to ensure the safety of pedestrians in particular?
We don't have just one agency. Most agencies, let's say the road engineers are supposed to be ensuring. We are supposed to be ensuring. The police is supposed to be ensuring it. But then we also have this association called the Ghana. Okay, that was the different one. But as I said, we have agencies that are taking charge of that. So we didn't really bring in a pedestrian, but we have civil society as a stakeholder.
Talking about stakeholders, James Appiah Jr. says, we're always talking about students. Well, how many students or how will students everywhere get this book for road safety? I mean, how do you plan to make this available to every student, make this a truly public program?
Okay.
It's a National Road Safety Commission, isn't it?
Yeah. As I said, now we have produced the books and we are training the teachers on it. We are trying to put it in the curriculum, and when it comes, it will come out as a textbook where each student would have to have a copy because it is in the curriculum.
It's in the curriculum. Shouldn't it be something that's part of our domestic culture?
We were talking about school children.
Yes.
We have different target areas and how we get to those.
So for example, we don't learn to brush our teeth in school, really, or to blow our noses in school. Why do we have to go to school to learn road safety? Shouldn't it be taught at home?
We have another program that involves PTA. Yeah, because we're talking about a book, that's how come it's so that we have another program that involves PTA.
The PTA?
The PTA of various schools, where we talk to parents on that they have to also ensure the safety of their children. So that is teaching in the house.
Okay, I see that you're really focusing on schools and educational institutions. How about district assemblies, local government?
For the local assemblies too, we have different strategies in reaching different target areas. When it comes to the assemblies, we use our regional offices where we're able to target some of the local, and at some districts we have been able
to target, but you hit.
Yeah, we hit at that one. At some districts we have been able to form district road safety committees, and these committees has a member coming from the local assembly, and also a member from the as an assembly, one of the assemblymen is also a member on the committee.
How do you monitor your success or failure at achieving or not achieving on your targets? What sort of monitoring and regulatory mechanisms do you have in place?
We have a whole department, the the research monitoring evaluation department, and that's a department that takes care of this. They monitor our activities, they monitor the outcome of they evaluate the outcome of the activities and the effects it had on society, and that is how we measure our success rate.
So, would you give yourselves a pat on the shoulder or a smack on the back in terms of how well you've done on target?
We've done well as per
the National Road Safety Commission.
As per the rating, because the fatality rate, which is one that we use in measuring our performance, is dropping. And the fatality rate is calculated by as per 10,000 vehicles. The fatalities as per 10,000, every 10,000 vehicles.
It looks like you've got some appreciation coming from viewers. Sweeney Osman F1 Hat says your programs are always carefully chosen at the right time. So I suppose we've reached a certain level of tolerance when it comes to fatalities amongst pedestrians from road accidents. Says accidents are so rampant these days. Mr. Henry, thanks for educating us. Patrick thinks it's not about the talking but the action. But anyway, kudos to you guys for this nice road safety campaign. Bravo. Felix I chips in with an idea. It says our markets are now on the street, leaving pedestrians to the safety of the vehicles. We bump into each other with a little space on the walkway. Some regions are actually overpopulated. I think that this brings us back to tolerance. Do you think that we are too tolerant of some of these breaches of very simple laws and actually breaches of basic common sense? Do you think that we are too tolerant as a society in general?
Yeah.
The engineers are too tolerant of the budgetary constraints, the builders are too tolerant of something else, the pedestrians are too tolerant of the overspeeding drivers, the drivers are too tolerant of the hawkers who sell on the road or by the side of the road. Do you think we are too tolerant?
I would say we are at a stage now where we have to take all these things into our own hands. That is why now these local assemblies are trying to take the hawkers off the pedestrian walkways. That is why now the police have stepped up their enforcement. And that is why now the engineers are also, we spoke about these road ramps. This comes about because of our attitude. You have been told, when you get to this portion of the road, you have to slow down. If you are not slowing down, then we have to force you to slow down. That is how come the road ramps come in. Okay,
well, just to wrap up, Patrick asking about the inclusion of other institutions, educational institutions, such as the primary and the senior high school. And Lavisman the Papa asking if your programs are truly national, because he thinks that there should be more zebra crossings in Wa, for example. Would you say that you're evenly distributed in terms of your activity all over Ghana?
Yeah, we have regional offices in all over Ghana. In Wa, we have a regional office. And if he thinks that there's a road that really needs a zebra crossing that is not there, he could just bring it to the attention of our regional office. They would inform the stakeholders involved, and if it truly needs to be done, it would be done.
But that's a really nice point you touched on. Just before we go to break, is there an easy way for volunteer citizens to get in touch with the National Road Safety Commission, provide information? Is there an interactive forum like a website or even a page on Facebook where anyone can post pictures or information about road safety situations as and when they witness them?
Okay. When you on our social media, that's Facebook and Twitter, we have a page there, the National Road Safety Commission. When you go there, anything you post there, we see it, and you can just like us, and any information we share there, you would receive it. Apart from that, we also have these toll-free lines that you could call in anytime you meet something. So you could call in the toll-free line and you will be addressed. We also have a website that you can go there, and when you want to send us an email, you could just send to info@nrsc.gov.gh, and we would receive it and respond to it appropriately.
And viewers are just pouring in with those questions. Richard York is asking about insurance. Suppose the question is whether you have a link to some of the insurance companies in instances where a car hits a pedestrian without proper or full insurance. who can the pedestrian tend to? Can the pedestrian tend to the National Road Safety Commission? And Patricia thinks that the question of who signed on behalf of the pedestrian was a really good one. And Chastity SSA says, we the differently abled want more attention in terms of the National Road Safety Commission.
Okay, let me touch on the insurance. With the insurance, there is this institution called the National Insurance Commission, and that is where all insurance grievances go to. So for that person, he can contact the National Insurance Commission, and they would take care of it for them. About the
people with different abilities or disabilities, motor disabilities, visual, hearing impaired people.
We all know there's a law that says that all public access routes should be able to accommodate people with disability. And that is one thing that the engineers are working on. So it is something that is being catered for.
Just once again, could you tell me what your website is, or whether you have any interactive platforms such as Facebook?
Yeah, we have Facebook. When you go to Facebook, National Road Safety Commission.
National Road Safety Commission.
Yeah.
You are there and you take posts, you respond to them. Anyone can post to the wall.
Yes, you only need to like.
National Road Safety Commission. If I just look for it now, you think I'll find it?
Yes.
National, excuse my A1 B1 type in. National, one finger type in. National Road Safety Commission, Ghana. Oh, here it is, governmental organization. Oh, yeah. Nice. 51 people are talking about you.
It's also on Twitter.
Okay, you're also on Twitter. Let me like it. And you've got your numbers posted right there, the 10800 0800 10800 18008 with the colors for MTN. And you say that anyone can post to the wall. I can post a photograph of a road safety situation. I can post ideas, comments, reports, and you will follow up on it.
Yes. And there's another one that was not created by us, but one of these road safety practitioners. That's Speak Road Safety.
Speak Road Safety.
Yeah, when you go there, you get a lot of information about road safety.
Okay, that's definitely good news. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your knowledge and ideas with me and with my viewers. Henry has something special, coordinator of special project at the National Road Safety. We've been looking at pedestrian safety in particular. Some really nice initiatives going on. Road safety education for junior high school. This is a booklet that's available. If you want to know how to find it, well, just keep looking at the TV3 Sunrise page on Facebook. I'm about to post the URL for the National Road Safety Commission page on Facebook, and this is the teacher's guide for junior high schools as well. I'm sure you can get in touch with the NRSC via Facebook, and the numbers and everything else you need to know about getting in touch with them through other means is also right there on their page on Facebook.